Welcome back to the Husker Extra podcast on Husker Extra. I'm your host for the week, Parker Gabriel. We're doing a 4-part series on Nebraska's 2022 recruiting class. You can find it only at HuskerExtra.com. So please consider subscribing. This part of, we're adding it to the pantheon of podcasts. It, of course, also includes the Sip and Sam Showdown and some other podcasts as we go. And today we're going to get deep into the offensive skill collection that Nebraska's added to its 2022 recruiting class. And there's nobody better to get deep into the weeds in recruiting than Mike Schaefer from 24/7 Sports, Husker 24/7. Mike, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. Is this our first podcast together?
I've done the Hypecast. I've done the Hypecast before.
Okay.
So
yeah, there is a Hypecast, but this feels like new uncharted territory for us.
It is. It's as if we're talking on the radio, except for not.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. I like it. I enjoy our radio conversations. Now we can bring them to everyone else. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's right. So earlier in the week, Evan Bland and I talked sort of overview about the offense in general, but Nebraska did so much work in terms of overhauling its skill positions, in particular, all three routes, right? High school, junior college, and transfer portal. We figured it'd be a good idea to spend some extra time. Schaefer, 12 guys, skill positions, if you count the quarterbacks, 9 if you take out the 3 quarterbacks they've added. We're going to get into some superlatives and then talk about the class in general. But I guess first things first, just give me what you sort of think about what Nebraska did in terms of adding to its skill position groups.
Yeah, and you put yourself back in that thought process in November when Scott Frost announces that he's going to move on from the bulk of his offensive staff. And you kind of think, okay, what is this going to look like? Well, then you go through the process. You see Nebraska change assistant coaches, offensive coordinators. They have a new wide receivers coach, a new running back coach, a new quarterback / offensive coordinator coach. So it stands to reason that those rooms would look a little bit different. I don't know, Parker, that I was expecting that it would look this much different or that Nebraska would take this many wide receivers or running backs. Right. But they are obviously being aggressive and they're trying to shift a little bit of those specific rooms to kind of fit the people that are now in charge of them. And so, obviously Mickey Joseph was very involved in going out and finding wide receivers that he wanted to coach. Certainly Mark Whipple had say in finding those quarterbacks. And as we heard from Scott Frost himself, Brian Applewhite basically brought A.J. Allen to their attention. And so Nebraska isn't here with A.J. Allen if they don't have Brian Applewhite. So I think in a lot of ways, it makes sense that when you change out the personnel of your coaching staff, you're also going to have some changes. I just don't know that I anticipated it would be this many new faces. And with that comes what could be, an entirely different looking offense at times in 2022, not just from the schematic standpoint, but you could have Casey Thompson in the backfield with A.J. Allen and 3 wide receivers who weren't on Nebraska's roster at all. Yeah. His options out there. And then of course you'll have the hopes and standbys of Travis Vokolek and some others, but just just like everything else, a lot of change in Lincoln, and they needed to work, and they did a nice job, as you said at the onset, blending the high school with the junior college with the transfer portal. And they really hit on every level with those.
To listen to the full episode of the Husker Extra podcast, visit HuskerExtra.com and subscribe today.